I could tell you a little bit how difficult it is at the beginning in order to present this, because Thailand has to present the first draft to every originating, constituting member country. My first draft constituent instrument, that is to say the draft charter, but we didn't call it charter, we called it the same as we call it joint communique for ASPAC. We call this joint communique, which is a constituent instrument under international, a treaty signed by all the foreign ministers who attended the Bangkok meeting,
Declaration.
The Bangkok Declaration of the 8th of August 1967 with Dr. Thanat Khomon.
It's the only one that's still alive at this moment among those five.
He is the only one to my recollection, yes, because the others, I'm afraid, may have gone. Although I remember them quite vividly, because we had to live very closely with them at the beginning in order to persuade them to come to Bangkok and to see to it, to sell, if you like, the idea of not only political security, not only military security, but more, I think the question of security depends much more on economic strength, economic cooperation, social and cultural integration and identification.
What was actually your role in 1967 when the Bangkok Declaration was signed by the five foreign ministers?
Well, before that I drafted the constituent instrument, the joint communique, and I had to go with Foreign Minister Thanat Khomon to visit all the leaders of ASEAN countries then. First Malaysia with Tunku Abdul Rahman and Tun Razak, Tunku Abdul Rahman. I recall the first night he took me to.
So there's so many names.
to Merdeka to see watch a football team.
Right.
But Tunku was a graduate of a school in Thailand, you see. So he could speak Thai, but he didn't speak Thai to me.
Okay, he could, but he didn't.
He could, but he didn't. He's a graduate of Tepsirin School.
Right.
But he instead he gave me brandy soda with ice. No, but we had a good time discussing, and then the next one is Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew. We went to visit him and tried to sell him this, and we discussed. And to my recollection, Lee Kuan Yew was very impressive. He was a first-class student in England, and his wife also. But he said I had a nightmare in Singapore. Lee Kuan Yew said he had a nightmare that if one day Thailand started making canals over the Kra Isthmus, then I think Singapore is Singapore is lost.
Right, and that
was
topic,
his nightmare.
And that topic is still debatable.
I can assure you that in my lifetime maybe we're not doing that.
So you were actually the one who drafted the Bangkok Declaration and the joint communique,
and explain to
and explain to
this first Malaysia, second Singapore, then we go on to Indonesia.
The five nations at that time in 1967 have shown a very positive sign of joining.
Well, I can tell you about the last one was the Philippines.
Right.
The Philippines also we have to be very careful, but you see at one time when Malaysia started there was confrontation from Indonesia, but the Philippines also started to sit back, to see what then that's why ASA came into a stage of almost half asleep or moribund, and we had to try to. It's too much now to think. I mean, at that time we formation group had a choice of reviving ASA, but reviving ASA and let Indonesia is bigger. One state is bigger than the rest of the ASA, so we better call it a new organization.